All right. Well, I am so excited to have you on our show today. Would you mind introducing yourself to our audience?
My name is Samantha Skelly. I'm the founder of Pause Breathwork, and my vision, my mission with that company is to help people remind themselves that they have infinite potential through their breath.
Well, I love this because I believe so much in infinite potential as just as
Mm.
it stands in itself. But I love the fact that you really help them rediscover, realign, reestablish, really put good things in motion for themselves so that we can handle life and the challenges and everything that comes with that. But let's take it a step backward. How did you get to this point of really focusing on this? Where did you see the need? How has this helped you?
So 13 years ago, 14 years ago now, I found breathwork when I was in Bali. And I went to Bali because I grew up as a child. So I grew up as a child actress and a dancer. So basically, like my whole life was in entertainment and performance. And I had a lot of body image issues. I had a lot of eating issues, right? My first company we talked about before we pressed record was Hungry for Happiness. And because that was my story, I was in pain and suffering with my relationship to food, my relationship to my body. It was just a time in my life where I had no idea how to love my body. I had no idea how to eat like a normal person. I had no idea how to feel my intuition. I was so disconnected from my body. I was just like this heady cocktail of anxiety. The two places that I like hung out was I was either numb or I was anxious. Like those were like my two resting positions. So I was in Bali and I discovered breath work. I saw it on the community board. The next class on the board was breath work. And the first thing I thought about was like, God, that's gotta be boring. Like just breathing, like what the heck? And it was 3 hours. I was like, are we literally gonna sit there for 3 hours and just breathe? But there was something inside of me that was like, go do that class. Like that, go check that out. So I did, and I signed up and I walked up the stairs and I opened the door and I look in the room and everyone's just lying down with pillows and blankets. And there's this tall guy there dressed all in white. He looked like Jesus. And he came up to me and he was like, are you ready to go on the ride of your life? And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you're going to experience the entire spectrum of human emotion. And I kind of giggled because I'm like, at the time, right? I was like, anxious or numb. Those are the two things that I felt. I was like, I don't know if you know who you're talking to, but I'll give it a try. And so I lied down and I started breathing in this way that he was instructing. And within a few minutes, I could feel just electricity pulsing through my body. I could feel my mind was like clear for the first time in forever. I felt my heart open. It just felt like this like incredible experience, incredible feeling. And so I used breath work to help heal my eating disorder. It helped me rediscover who I am, rediscover, infinite potential, rediscover like truly be radical self-loving, not like I used to think like self-care was self-love. Like I had a bubble bath and a glass of champagne. Like, isn't that good enough? But I really realized like, no, self-love is this like attunement to our inner child and attunement to our parts every single moment of every single day. And if I can really get with that, I can set myself free. And so I managed to heal myself from disordered eating and body image issues through breath work and through somatic healing. I was constantly thinking about what do I need to do in order to feel better? Right? I was like overthinking it. And for us to feel better, we need to be better feelers. And it requires us to actually get into the body and do it through like a somatic embodied experience. And so I just became like a teacher or like a student rather of breath work for years and years and years and years and years. And then 2016, 2017 time, I was running Hungry for Happiness, but I was getting a little bit like, I'm over this. Like, I love this mission. And I feel like I gave my life to this mission for years, but there's something else. And I just got this very clear message, like it's breath work, like go, that's the thing. And so I've really been on that journey of helping people discover who they are through their breath. It's like the most simple yet profound thing that we can do is heal our bodies through our breath. And it never gets old. I've taught breath work to probably close to 300,000 people at this point in my career. And every single time I'm like, oh, it's still so amazing, So that's my jam. That's what I do. And I do that through our breathwork app. and our facilitator training, so training people to become breathwork facilitators so they can take this art and share it with the world.
I love this. I can feel your passion for this, like through Zoom right now. Like it's so great. Well, and I just love that when you find your purpose and your mission and you're so invested in what it is that you've experienced and you want to share that with the world, like that's your gift, your calling, right? And I also really appreciate you allowing yourself to evolve too, right? Because I think sometimes we get stuck in like, here is this is who I am. This is what I've done for so long. Like I can't keep going on from here. And I know there's a lot of amazing, ambitious, fabulous individuals in our community that are probably thinking like, I am ready to evolve myself. So Samantha is a great example of this. So yay. And you're helping hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, I'm sure before we blink, it'll be millions. And I just love this. So I also really appreciate, that not everybody is so aware of something that's so simple and profound and something we literally have to do to just exist on this planet, how it can also be so healing and therapeutic and helpful. And I think a lot of us are doing it wrong, and we're not necessarily leaning on how important it is for our own development, our own spiritual development, personal development. So I know you've got some tips for us as far as just really opening our eyes to some of the things we're not doing. And I'd love to spend some time there if we can.
Okay, let's do it. So there's two types of breathing essentially, right? There's breathing to survive, which 99.99999% of the world is doing. And then there's breath work to thrive. And when we use our breath intentionally and consciously to get into our bodies, to release trauma, to regulate our nervous system, we get ourselves into a place of just relaxation. We welcome in more well-being into our body. And so a breathwork technique that I love doing every single morning when I wake up, I've done this for 13, 14 years, every single morning, is called the triactive breath, where we breathe into the belly first, then up into the chest, then out through the mouth, and we circulate the breath and move the breath through the body. And what this is doing is it's helping with the mind. The mind has like this hypervigilance trying to like fix and control and manipulate. Like there's a lot of stuff happening. And so when we use the breath, what we're actually doing is we're actually turning on the energy centers in our body. So our body is the one that is protecting us, supporting us, and guiding us, and our mind can relax. So oftentimes we try and do that process through thinking about it, which is just activating the mental body even more. So first thing when you wake up, you can even do this lying down in your bed, or if you want to sit up and do it, 3 minutes. Like that's literally all you need is 3 minutes, and then finish it with a top hold. Hold the breath at the top for as long as you can and release. And even something as simple as that will allow you to really get deeper into your body, because what it does is it helps move the nervous system from the sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic nervous system. When we're in parasympathetic, that is rest and digest. Well, when we're rested and we're feeling calm and our body isn't like waiting for the other shoe to drop, so to speak, when we're just like, relaxed there, then we're able to just we're able to get the downloads, get the inspiration, feel joy, feel inspired, have fun. It's like if our body is always in like fight or flight, there's an inability to have fun. There's an inability for levity. Something that my clients and my team and people in my world say often is like, you have so much fun. Like you're just always messing around. You're always like, it seems like you don't have a care in the world. Well, I do, but I also know how to regulate my nervous system so I don't stress out about things that don't matter, right? Which a lot of our brain all the time is like, we have these protectors inside of us, and these protectors are like, don't do this, don't say that, don't do, because you're gonna die, no one's gonna like you, you're gonna be ostracized from the tribe, and And so when we don't have that mental chatter and we're just rested in our heart, there's spaciousness to have more fun. There's spaciousness to actually express. There's spaciousness to live. Like I don't fear, if I post this, then people are gonna hate me, and then I'm whatever, it's like we can just have a little bit more fluidity with life. So that practice in the morning is really good. I also suggest doing breath work for like a longer period of time, like 20, 25, 30 minutes, maybe at least once a week, just to give us that feeling of like being emotionally cleansed. Every single time that I do it, it's different every single time. Like there's times where I'm just like crying and releasing and letting go, because when like the body is constantly holding all of this energy, and when we get rid of our structure that says you can't cry, you got to keep it all together, you got to be the strong one, when we release that through breath work, the body is just going to process the energy that it needs to process, right? So we do this with food, right? We eat food and our body processes it out, but with emotion and trauma, the body holds it unless we allow it to move through. So a lot of us are just incredibly emotionally constipated walking around the world, and you know what I mean? So that's, I think that did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, this is so good. I mean, first of all, emotionally constipated, like just struck a chord, right? Because I think we do, we bottle it all up. We don't know how to process it. It's one of those things where, I mean, I love the book too, The Body Keeps Score, right? Like there's so
good. Yeah.
so good.
So good.
But there's so much that you just talked about that really resonated with me. I mean, I think too, like letting it be fun, right? Let life be fun. And I think I know, at least I speak for myself here, but like, I'm a super like disciplined person. Like the moment my eyes open in the morning, I'm like, okay, the list, right? Like what has to get accomplished. So I've worked really hard over the last couple of years to incorporate, more meditation, more mindfulness practices, the breath work piece though, just the simplicity of what you shared. I'm really excited to bake into my daily practice too. And I'm sure it will allow me to have more fun as well. And so I'm looking forward to it. So already looking forward.
It's like at the end of the day, what do we want? We just want to, can I swear on this podcast? We just
Of
want
course
to
you may.
fuck around and have fun, you know? And when our system is in like danger mode, it's like you got an email, you're not going to die. Right. And so it allows us to look at the chaos and drama that our mind amplifies, and just be like, oh, that's actually not that big of a deal. It's actually okay that client dropped you. It's actually okay that you got an email or a DM that said you suck, whatever it is, right? It's like, who cares? Who cares? How can we just like focus on what matters, which is understanding who we actually are and sharing that with the world? And how can we eliminate all of this noise that we're caught up in? And we do live in a noisy world, so it does take discipline. I love that you said you're disciplined. I think I'm in Austin right now at my friend's house, and it's a girlfriend that I used to live with forever ago, and we were going for a walk, and she's like, you are one of the most disciplined people that I know. And I'm like, thank you, because I really believe that my ability to discipline my focus and discipline my actions and put myself in environments where I thrive, that brings me so much fulfillment and joy. And because of the fulfillment and joy, that I'm able to recycle that energy back into my community, with my team, with my clients. And then it just is this beautiful reciprocal relationship between myself and the universe, right? Just constantly giving and receiving energy. And that does take discipline. I think discipline is a really beautiful thing. If we could discipline our thoughts and discipline our focus, it's just mastering our mind, mastering our emotions is one of the greatest qualities I feel like we can possibly embody.
Well, I love all of this. So thank you for sharing this with me and with all of us that are listening and tuning in. I'm curious, we love to ask everybody that comes on this show, what does confidence mean to you?
Confidence is remembering that we are these beings that is God embodied in human form. Like confidence for me is a very embodied experience. Confidence doesn't come from my mind. I'm not like, oh, I'm confident because I have a multi-million-dollar business and an amazing. It's nothing like materialistic that I've done. Like my confidence does not come from my accomplishments ever. In fact, like accomplishing things is like a very weird experience for me. It's kind of like, it doesn't hit in the way that you think it would hit. It like looks really shiny and looks amazing. And, my confidence doesn't come from like my real estate portfolio or my investments or my business or whatever it is. It comes from like me, again, getting back to the breath and actually feeling who I was before the world told me who I was. That's what gives me confidence. And when I like literally plug into that essence, it's like, I don't need to accomplish anything. I will, because that's just who I am and that's my soul's curriculum. But there's no chasing, there's no proving, there's no nothing. It's just this feeling of like, I am who I am, who I am, who I am. And that's really good. And I love the feeling of resting in a body that is self-loving. And for so much of my life, that wasn't the case. For so much of my life, I was at war with myself. I was, fighting myself. I was berating myself. I woke up like probably this like 5 years ago, and I woke up and I had this moment. I was like, I don't have an inner critic anymore. And it was this like moment, because for the 25, 30 years prior, I really did. It was very intense, and it like drove a lot of my decisions and things like that. And so I really do believe like that place for so many people is possible. And so that's why I feel so passionate about breath work and this work is because because I know like this is possible for every single person who walks this planet. If you have a beating heart, you have an ability to be embodied in that heart and view life from the lens of that heart, not through the ego.
Well, I love this too. And I think the fact that you've articulated so beautifully that it's not about the achievements, it's not about all the things, right? It's about who you are at your core, being at peace, right? That is, I think, something that so many people want but don't know how to achieve. And I love that you were able to illuminate that it's possible, because I know there's a lot of high achievers that listen to this. They're chasing the next thing, looking for the next win, the next accomplishment. And that is some type of manufactured evidence that they're good enough. And I love the fact that you've just stated so beautifully that it's really, that doesn't matter. It's really about who you are in your core. It's about releasing the judgment that you've had for yourself. It's trusting your intuition. It's being who you're intended to be. And it's not connected to any external validation of anybody else's opinions as to what your worth is. I love that. Thank you for saying it that way, because we've heard a lot of people talking about trusting themselves and being bold enough to make brave decisions, and which I think are all really wonderful pieces of advice and perspectives when it comes to confidence. But you're the first one that really just brought it right back to home, and all of that other stuff doesn't matter. It's really about how you feel within. So thank you, thank you, thank you for that. I am sure people are listening going, oh my God, where has she been my whole life? You've got some really amazing things that you provide, and your service to the world, your calling is profound. So can you share, people are like, I need more of you. Where do we find you? What else can we do? How can we get involved? How can we really make breath work a part of who we are? Please share. I'm sure that there's a lot of people ready to take notes right now. So
Yeah, so there's kind of like two paths into my world. Number one, if you're someone who's just like, I need breath work in my life, I want it 24/7 on demand, then we have a app. It's called Pause Breathwork. Pause. Some people think it's like pause like a dog. I'm like, no, 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 not like that. Pause. So pause, like taking a pause, breathwork.com. There's a free 14-day trial on the App Store. So you can check that out. And if you're someone who is a leader, facilitator, coach, therapist, someone who's working with people or desires to work with people, we also have our flagship 6-month breathwork facilitator program, which helps you to become a breathwork facilitator. It also is a beautiful journey of you deepening into your own embodiment. So you don't have, a lot of people ask, well, do I need to have been doing breathwork for forever to, no. The answer is no. A lot of people hear me on a podcast, and it just, there's something in them that's like, I don't know what that is, but I need that. And then they're called to it, and then they go through the journey, they go on a deepening journey themselves, then they learn to teach it, and then they start a business of breathwork. So just feel into what feels most aligned for you, and yeah, choose that path. But I'm also very active on Instagram doing crazy shenanigans 24/7. So that's Samantha Skelly is my handle, and then Pause Breathwork is my company's Instagram.
oh, love all of this. And we like to also be inspired by others. We ask all of our guests who we should be reading, following, being inspired by. So
Ooh.
I need some suggestions from you.
Oh, this is good. This is good. This is good. Okay, who am I loving these days? I really hope I don't butcher her name, but it's a woman that I found recently, and I just bought like every book that she has ever written because her words are just so beautiful. Brianna Brianna Wist, I think that's it. So I've just been absolutely loving her work. Pima Chodron is another one, for those of you who are like moving through the ick and the crunch of life. Like, her books are just absolutely amazing. Um, Those are the two that I would recommend that feel like the most aligned in this moment.
I love that. Well, we will include their information in the show notes as always, but I am just so grateful that we got to spend this time together. You are a gift to the world, and your energy is so profound, and it's so clear and obvious that you love what you do. So thank you for inspiring all of us to also find what we love and we want to do and continue to evolve into the complete person we're intended to be. So I appreciate you. Thank you for
I
all you do.
appreciate you too. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.